Let's see. It looks like we are live. Let's see. Is everyone attendees should be able to join from the waiting room? Woo! Webinar energy, everyone. So good to see you all here. Let's get some hellos in the chat. I'm gonna say hi from Florida. If you're here, let's see where you are. Patrick. Thank you, Patrick from Michigan. Great to see you here. Great to have you here. Scott from Montana. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's get. I have too much fun with these things, but we need to get started because this is an exciting topic. One of the most interesting vendors in our space is tackling one of the toughest challenges. But before we get into what we're going to talk about, let me introduce our panel. They're going to be doing most of the work here. Starting with Katie. Katie, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi there, everybody. So my name is Katie Sullivan. I am the Senior Product Manager for Pro AV and K-12 at AVer. I'm in charge of deciding what we make and when we make it, and I am supremely excited to have the opportunity to be in our US office to showcase some of the great features of the MT500.
Thank you. And Victor?
Hey guys, my name is Victor Mendes-Cross. I am the FAE Manager here at AVer USA. Our job is essentially to be the camera gurus. We're here to help you guys if you have any technical questions, pre-sales, post-sales, whatever you guys need for your ecosystem in your conference room or whatever room you're trying to outfit with AVer product. We're here to help you guys. Excited to be here and excited to show you guys some cool stuff on the MT500.
I'm really excited for this one. Like I said, we're getting into one of the toughest challenges and one of the most creative companies to solve it. I'm David Maldow. Well, I am David. Oops, I'm muted. Maldow. I've been covering the video conferencing industry for a long time, and it's been plagued with problems. When I first started, it was hard to convince anyone to use it. Meeting rooms only talk to other meeting rooms. What good is that? We need to get to them from the desktop. The cameras weren't so good. The angles weren't so good. The quality wasn't good. Our networks weren't good enough, calls would drop, and we've solved so many of these problems. Cameras are amazing these days. They have AI in them, they do everything, and the networks are resilient, and the software we use, it can handle anything, packet loss. So we've solved all these problems, but there's one big problem that we kind of realized during the pandemic. We blame the pandemic for everything, but this is kind of a backhanded thing about the pandemic. When the pandemic first started, some of y'all had some problems with the way you were joining your Zoom and your Teams calls. I had the up the nose angles and the top of the head and the little, hiding in the corner, what I call the Charlie Brown when your head's all the way at the bottom of the screen, like you're behind that red wall. And I'm like, uh-oh, as a video analyst, I'm going to be spending the next 2 or 3 years making videos about how you all need to look better on Zoom. But you figured it out in week 1. I didn't have time to make the video. I think seeing something about vanity, we like to look at ourselves and we like to look nice. Everyone figured out how to look amazing. You all look amazing when you join your Teams, your Zoom calls from your home office. You're framed like I'm framed now, like a TV news star. But then we got back to the office. And we got into our office and I have to drive again and I have to commute again. And all of a sudden I look like this. And I'm like, wait a minute. No. This does not work for me. I could stay at home and look amazing and do a great presentation, or I could drive to the office and sit here and look like this and not be as effective. Now, help me out in the chat. Is this a David is complaining about nothing problem, or let me know in the chat if this is a real thing. Well, actually, I know it's a real thing, and the reason that I know it's a real thing is because every vendor in this space, every camera company, every software company is saying this is all our customers are complaining about. We have to solve this problem. They're just looking for ways to solve this problem. And they're all kind of vague about it. They're all just vague. They're saying, we're using AI, we're using software, we're going to do multiple cameras. And I want specifics. And that's why I'm excited about AVer. If you see behind us, AVer is going to be at Infocom. You have to go to their booth. They always have fun stuff at their booth. And when you go to the AVer booth, you notice it looks different from every other booth at the show because everyone else has 2 or 3 cameras, and cameras are flexible. Use your cameras for everything. And AVer is a problem solver. they have all these specific cameras and they all look different. They all have different things. They detach and do different things and work at different angles, completely different products. Because they don't just say, you figure it out yourself, customer. They're problem solvers and they're specific. So now they have a device, the MT500, and there's also the MT300 at the end. We're going to explain. When you understand the 500, you'll understand the 300. Today we're talking about the 500, but we'll explain which one you need for what. And it solves this problem. I mean, obviously the solution is multiple cameras. You have more cameras in the room, they can capture everyone, but how do the cameras know what to do? They got to connect to some kind of hub that tells them which one to switch to what and what to talk to. It needs a brain. And instead of like other companies that are, we have some software we're working on, AVer has a device they made just for this. So now Katie and Victor are going to help us out. Katie's going to give us the overall, explain what this device does, how it works, what its purpose is, and then Victor's going to do what I think is the fun stuff, the nerdy stuff. We're going to talk about the protocols and the plugins and the speeds and the feeds and all the technical stuff. I'm counting on you in chat to give us some great questions for that. Oh, and by the way, chat, the normal housekeeping stuff. Some people are very specific about put questions in the Q&A and this and whatever you want. Hit us up in the chat, hit us up in the Q&A. We're watching. We want you to be part of this. We want to answer your questions. So with that, okay, we understand the problem. We want to look like this in our meeting rooms. The cameras today don't know what to do. And somehow this device is going to fix it. Katie, help us out here. How does this work?
I gotcha, absolutely. And I'll try. I know everyone wants to see the live demo. I know everyone wants to see it in action. Anyone who works in the space worth their salt is going to want to see it actually happen. But I do want, in the event that there are some people who are new to AVer, I want to at least give you a brief introduction to us, and especially, let's get into present mode there, and especially who are new to seeing us in this space. So if you're familiar with AVer, I'm sure you've encountered one of our cameras, but I really encourage you to start thinking of us as a whole room solution ecosystem. And AVer Pro AV is known for our flexible solutions, our simple experiences, our strong value, and our dependable support. Some differentiators that we have for our products. So we have a high quality and a price to performance ratio. Our service is great. If you call our service line and you're having trouble, like, you will talk to Victor, who you see right here. He is the one who will help you along with a few other members of our team. So this man right here, and that's because we're a small company, we're able to serve you more directly. We also have a try and buy program. If you want to get a demo unit of this, we'll give you a really solid discount if you buy that unit. 5-year warranty on all our Pro AV products. We are NDAA and TAA compliant, and look at all those beautiful awards we've got over there. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're not talking about AVer. We're talking about what Dave was mentioning, this video switching problem. And the problem is no longer camera capture. Like Dave said, we figured that out. Cameras work great. AVer has an excellent fleet of cameras you could choose from, but the real challenge we're now all trying to solve for is room behavior, right? Who gets shown and when they get shown, when the view is going to switch, how this is going to feature local or remote audiences, who is prioritized over what. And if you're commissioning a room, if you're setting something up, you need that to be, we all know the devil is in the details, right? And you're going to be looking for predictable switching. You want to make sure it fits into your system, your ecosystem. Yeah, and you want to be able to manage that deployment, because if you've ever done this, you know how challenging that it can be to actually execute. And that's where our MT series fits in. So we have 2 products in our MT series that you see here. We have the MT300 on the top and the MT500 on the bottom. So what these are matrix tracking boxes that are going to coordinate your microphones, your cameras, and your room outputs. They're going to fit in boardrooms like we have here, but our MT500 in particular is going to work in a divisible room. They'll work in training spaces, lecture halls, anything you see as a high impact room that needs a lot of coordination. The MT series is going to fit there. And why it matters is, compared to some other options on the market, it is so much simpler to commission. There's going to be less manual input, and it's going to work better in these hybrid spaces. So if you want to think about the difference between the MT300 and the MT500, which we're working on today, is your MT300 is going to be like a traffic cop. It's dealing with a simpler setup. I know Victor likes to call it little brother, big brother, but I like traffic cop, air traffic controller, because it speaks to the level. The job is still the same. We're controlling traffic, but it's the level of complexity and the complexity of that room that is why you'd want to choose an MT500 over an MT300. So again, today we're talking about the MT500, which you'll see a screenshot there. We're going to be able, we've got it set up right here in the room, so we can give you some close-ups of that later if you want to see the box in real life. But this is our AI-powered matrix tracking box for high-impact meeting spaces. And one of the strengths of this box is how compatible it is going to be in your existing systems. We've got USB, HDMI, IP, RTSP, NDNI 863, Dante AV-H. Like there, if you got a system, like we built this box to work in the rooms that you were already trying to commission. That's on the input side. On the output
But Katie,
side,
can I jump in for a second real quick?
yeah, of course.
Because that just surprised me, because I'm used to some of your competitors. They say, if you want to have this experience with the magic camera switching stuff that we're going to see in a minute, by the way, we're going to see something really cool in a minute. If you want that experience, you got to rip out the entire room and buy all new stuff from us. You got to have our cameras, our boxes, our switches, our microphones, our cables, our everything. And did I just hear you right that I can use all my own stuff and just get I don't have to get a whole new room?
Yeah, so you can use your existing speaker system, got a slide on that coming up next. You can use your own cameras. If you want the full throttle of everything the MT500 can do, you will need to use AVer cameras on that. But the rest of the ecosystem, you can drop this into an existing space. And we all know, like, swapping out a camera is way easier than swapping out, say, a speaker or your control system, or your displays, making that work. So this is meant to easily drop into your existing spaces and provide you with that video switching experience without having to totally invest and also pay the price tag of investing whole cloth into that other system. Yeah, so that's a great point, Dave. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Other things, the other strength of the MT500 is that it's got two independent simultaneous 4K video outputs. So that's going to be ideal for divided rooms. Going to talk about that a little more in a minute. And again, it's going to fit. We've got it operating right now in this kind of medium-sized boardroom space, but it's hefty enough that it can work in larger spaces, enterprise spaces, lecture halls. It's designed for that level of complexity. And as I said before, but this is important to mention, so we have broad microphone compatibility. Be sure to visit our website for the exact SKUs that this is going to be compatible with. But we've got third-party compatibility with Shure, with Sennheiser, with Yamaha, with Audio-Technica, with Biamp. And so that's going to make it much easier for you to integrate this into more systems. Right now, we've got a Shure MXA310 on the desk that we're working with. We use those a lot, but we've got compatibility across these vendors. Okay, and so discussing the dual outputs here, again, we really wanted to tackle, after the MT300, we got a lot of feedback from our customers, and we're attentive to that they have these kind of divisible spaces that they're trying to output without having so much equipment in them. And so the dual 4K outputs on this allow you to tackle that scenario, right? So we have a divided room. You can have one output, you have one box. You have one output for room A, you've got a second output for room B, but then you can have a third profile that will allow you to have the combined room and use that all with just one box. So again, easier commissioning, setup, less equipment. You can rack this box, it fits in one rack, so that's another way you can make your commissioning simpler as well. Wanted to give you a close-up on the interface here, just so we can take a look, so you can get a closer look at what it looks like. A few call-outs. You'll notice that it's got that LCD screen on the front, also easy access for those profiles. If you just, I find this useful for if you really want a simplified system where you're communicating to whoever's going to be interacting with this space, to be like, hey, if you're doing divided room, put it on profile 1. If you have the combined room, put it on profile too, and that's as simple as it gets for them. Obviously, we have a UI where you can make it more complex, but some people want this easy access here where you can actually make those changes on the device. Also, we have our XLR audio inputs here. So this nice use case, a lot of use cases, but House of Worship is a good one. If you have audio that audio in that you want to from, from their own audio sources or from their own microphones, you can feed that through the MT500 as well. Onboard recording is another feature that we have here. So again, works in a lot of situations and more complex situations. We're almost to the demo, folks. I just got one more slide and then we're going to get there. So the biggest differentiator that we have on this MT500 is our AI features. And we have 3 of them that are available on this box built in. The first is face focus. So Victor's going to show you that in a minute, and how as people move, like I've been sitting up front here talking to y'all, but if we were in a realistic boardroom here, it's not turned on yet, people might turn and shift, and then their face would no longer be in focus. Face focus is going to focus on the front of the speaker's face and switch cameras based on that. IntelliSwitch fixes a different problem where it reduces camera pan. So say you have a 2-camera setup and you've got people switching and talking, it will queue up a second camera on another person so you don't have as much camera movement. And then Victor's favorite, Victor, a former integrator, he's giggling because he's a former integrator, and that is InstaConfig, which we will be showing you today. And what that uses, it walks you through a workflow and will automatically preset map based on the positions of these chairs. And we're going to show that to you. And it is pretty magical. And if you've ever had to configure one of these boxes, there can be a lot of just tedious time investment in getting that set up. And InstaConfig allows you to do that so much faster and get a baseline that, of course, you can customize and fine tune to your liking or to your customer's liking. But it just saves so much time for that initial setup.
We have some questions. Should we hit them now, or do you want to wait till after the demo on them?
I think it's a good time for questions.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat right now. So
yeah.
For David, yes, we could send the slides. I don't see a problem with that. We can absolutely send these slides. And now, Colin, you asked if this is going to support NDI cameras like the 323. The answer to that is yes. Our MT, we can ingest NDI as well as output NDI. And that's going to work across all of our Pro AV cameras, whether it's a TR or a PTZ, as well as our CAM series. Now remember, our CAM series does not have NDI, but if you have an NDI-equipped product, you can add it to the MT300. If you have an NDI-equipped AVer camera, then you can utilize all of the features that I'm going to show you now on the MT500.
And there's some questions in the Q&A. Do you have access to that, or do you want me to read them out to you?
Don't see that I have access.
Okay, so explain how your system compares to the Hudley crew.
All right, here we go. So explain how it compares to the Hudley crew. Your ease of setup using our MT500, you will see in a second.
Be nice.
Unbelievable. On top of that, using the 500, it is going to give you a lot more features to where you can really take this box and bend it around your current configuration and your current setup. When I'm walking through it, you are going to see that it might be like drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot of information going to be coming at you. However, ease of use for the integrator as well as the end user is #1 on our priorities. We're trying to make this as simple as we can, so that when you see an AVer product on your docket for the day, say you're going into commission a space, you know, okay, at least I'm going to get to go home early. It's an AVer product. Now, Anthony, you asked what is the max NDI cameras that you can connect and what is the max numbers of cameras overall? So the answer to that is 21.
I think the MT5 is actually 25.
25.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a mix and match between your physical inputs. Remember the slide Katie showed? We have 2 USB inputs and 3 HDMI inputs. And then we can add the rest via IP. Now that is how many devices you can add to the MT500. If you're familiar with the 300, it's going to be the same with the 5. We can only have 4 camera streams on the call at one time. That does not mean that you only can add 4 devices. You can have up to 25, but only 4 feeds can be used on the call at the same time. Now, Mike, what's the minimum switching time? It's going to be the same as the MT300. It goes from half a second all the way up to 5 seconds. Now remember, for that, there really is no magic number. It's all dependent on the room you're in, the room size, the microphone, the acoustics, etc. I always tell people start in the middle. Start at 2-second switching time, 3-second switching time, and just see how that works in your space before we make that final decision. All right, let's stick with 1 second, 2 seconds, or whatever it is that works for you guys.
There are a few more questions in the chat. The 4K NDI, that refers to the full bandwidth.
Correct.
No word yet, but maybe there will be word, but maybe I can't say. That's all I can do. That's all I can do.
All right, so I see James also had a couple more questions. Does AVer have plans for video collaboration without the need for a computer? James, for that specifically, are you talking like click share wireless sharing system? I think I just needed like a little bit more information on that one. But for your other questions, does the MT500 work with the Nariva sound system? Yes, we do. So we'll work with the 410, that dual bar. If you have questions about which microphone products we work with, you can always look on our website. All of our products are listed on the user manuals for our devices. Now, those products include the AVer cameras that are supported on the box, as well as the third-party microphones that are supported.
There's a question about daisy chaining MT500s. I feel like the answer on that is no.
Yeah, for daisy chaining the MT500s, you can, in theory. It gets a little murky when we're doing that. You would essentially be adding one MT500 as a device to the other MT500. This is something that we've done with the 300s before, but that's going to require you to program 2 different boxes, and it gets a little murky, but in theory, yes, it is possible. And if that's something that you guys would like to see an explanation of, we can absolutely do that at another time or create a document or a video for you guys.
So you got a follow up on the without a computer question. It says with Zoom Teams, like, so I guess within a Zoom room or Teams room is what the question was, as opposed to without a computer. So I guess that's kind of a me question. So I would say, again, this is our first iteration on the MT500. So where we're going next is really dependent on our customers. So if you like what this does and that's something that's either a deal breaker or something you'd really like to see, that's something I need to know. And that's one of the reasons why we're here is we are really invested. You know, we want to make y'all happy. We want to make sure you have a product that works for you. And so that's something we can definitely consider. And right now we're in that early stage of getting this out there, seeing what you like, collecting that feedback. So appreciate that feedback.
So I see 3 more questions in the Q&A that I haven't gotten to. I'm going to answer those, and then we'll jump into the demo portion. Keep the questions pouring in. If David sees one that he thinks is pertinent, we'll just go ahead and answer that right on the fly. And if not, once we're taking just a little break from the demos, we can get to that. But I see 3 questions here. I'll go ahead and answer those. Patrick, you asked, are you using preset recall or facial tracking? So the answer to that is we are using preset recall as well as, this is an and or, microphone coordinates. So this depends on what microphone you have. What you guys are going to see today, we're utilizing preset recall. The reason for that is we call it our active positioning. That's only available on certain microphones. So it's the microphones that give us that data over the network, such as the HDL410 and the Shure MXA920. So for this, we're using preset recall. With the facial tracking, that is more tracking that is available on our cameras themselves. So remember, at AVer, we have our AI auto tracking, which is looking for a face, the neck and the shoulders, a human silhouette. That tracking is purely optical. We're not going to be talking about that tracking today. On the MT, this is going to be our voice tracking, and we're utilizing presets for that in the demonstration today. Gary, I see you asked, can you use two MXA920s auto mixed for which lobe is strongest between the two to initiate a preset? The answer to that is yes. You can add, again, up to 25 devices, just like your cameras. Those can be mix and match between microphones, different brands, different SKUs on those mics. And how you have that microphone set up is entirely up to you and what's going to work best for your room and your audio source. So what I mean by that, you can leave your MXAs in that auto mix mode. The MT is going to register those 8 individual channels, no matter how you have it set up, whether the mic is in auto mix or whether you have it in coverage or whether you have it in zone. The MT is going to take that information that the MXAs put on the network and adjust it to fit into those 8 lobes. So again, I always like to mention, make sure you have your audio set up and dialed in first. Then we can deal with the tracking, because how you have those mics set up is going to influence how it performs in the room. All right. You guys think we're ready to see some fun stuff?
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm going to hide my video so that your video gets bigger. I want to see this demo, but I'm still here, everyone.
Do it. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. What we're going to talk about are some of our AI features that are new to the MT500. We're going to cover our face focus first. Now remember, our face focus, this is part of our speaker tracking. But what this is going to do, it is going to automatically focus on your face if I turn away from a camera. So let's think of real world application, right? In this situation, I'm here sitting, I'm staring at my displays, and I've got a camera directly in front of me that's capturing my face. But what happens if our CEO is sitting back here at the head of the table? I then have to turn around and address him directly. But now people on the far end, they're seeing the side of my face, they're seeing the back of my bald head. It's not a good look. So what we're trying to address inside of our MT series is full meeting automation. This is something we heard from clients where they're like, is there any way where the cameras can communicate, where we can have the best shot out of the two? We went ahead and added that to our MT500. So let me share my screen right here so that you guys can see what this looks like. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to one of my profiles. So what you'll see here on the end, go ahead, Katie, let's hand it over to you.
All right, so I'm going to be talking over here so that the camera picks me up and it'll eventually switch. Here I am. And again, those are delays that you can change and adjust based on what you want. It's a thing that we do to avoid crosstalk, that sort of thing.
But now, Katie finished talking, so I'm going to speak, and you'll see the camera now switch over to me here in a second, and I've got my beautiful TR335 at the front picking me up. But now my CEO over here is asking me a question. So if I turn around and begin to address the CEO, my TR is going to capture the back of my head, but there's a camera down here at the end. This camera is going to give me a better shot of my face. So what the MT500 is doing, it's registering, okay, he's turned around, I can't see his face, he's still activating the same microphone channel. Is there a camera at the rear of the room that will then focus in on his face and give us a better shot for the far end? So now I've turned around, I've answered the CEO's question. Now we're gonna go back to the meeting. And once I turn around over here, after a few seconds, once the MT box realizes, okay, I can't see his face anymore, we're gonna revert back to our camera up at the front. This is something that we see in some other tracking systems, some other conference room systems like this. But going back to what Katie said, the difference between the 500 and the 300. If the 300 is your traffic cop, the 500 is your air traffic controller. A good way to explain that is the 300 that's going to be your simple box. It's going to be for your smaller rooms if you just want that basic auto switching. If you have a room where your executives are going to be, people that walk in and don't want to have to worry about the AV system, knowing I can look wherever I need to look and my face is always going to be on the far end, that would be when I would recommend the 500. Now remember, our face focus, what you saw, this is only one AI feature that is available on the MT500. The feature that I'm most excited about is our Insta Config. Now I'm going to walk you guys through this and we're gonna set this up together in real time so you can see how simple this can be. I come from an integration background. I know setting up other camera tracking systems, you know you're gonna be there all day, possibly the rest of the week. With Insta Config, utilizing AI, it is going to give you a starting point on your configuration. I think starting point is the key that we need to remember here. You'll see whenever we set this up, I could run a meeting based off of that instant configuration. However, it might not be exactly what I need or what I want out of the product. The good news is you can take that instant configuration and then edit it and adjust it to fit your room and your needs. So let's go ahead and take a look at our MT. So right now, I'm in the web UI of the MT500. If you're familiar with our MT series, this is going to look very similar. If you're not familiar, we do have some videos on the MT series. We're currently working on some for the 500, so stay tuned for that. But I am going to come over here, and you'll notice right by our time setting, we have an Insta Config button. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna click Insta Config, and you notice it's gonna say that, oh, if you do this, we're going to delete any of your current data. That's fine, we're starting over from that instant spot. So I'm gonna hit proceed, and it's gonna ask you some questions. So these questions, it's what AI algorithm are we going to use? How is the camera set up? Where are the cameras in the room? Where's the microphone? So our cameras are set up upright, so we'll click next. Then we're gonna go to this screen. So this says select the scenario you want to detect. The translation for that, what chairs do you want to pick up? What chairs do you want this camera to pick up? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna pan over there, maybe not get that plant in there. That looks good for me. We'll click next. You're gonna see the camera do a little dance. It's essentially just making sure, all right, these are the chairs we wanna capture. Then we're gonna get this little dialog box, 4 corners, and this is how we're going to decide the area. So what we wanna do with these 4 corners is pick up all of the chairs that we wanna frame. We don't have to worry about cutting off the top of my head. When we're doing this in a real world situation, there's probably not gonna be anyone in the room, just empty chairs. So I'm gonna frame up all of my chairs. That looks good to me. We'll go a little higher there.
Yeah, and an important note on the chair front. So MT500 Instant Config works best when there's no one in the chairs. So it'll be, we've been testing this and it does okay, even when there's a body in the chair. I think also because you're wearing a dark shirt, that's probably going to help as well. But just if anyone does want to demo this, that's a good call out that it performs better when the chairs are empty than when they have humans in them.
Correct. So that looks like a good area that I want to capture. We'll click next and you'll see it says detecting chairs. That's all our AI is doing. It's looking for all of the chairs that are in the shot, and then it is going to single them out, and we can adjust this on this screen. So you'll notice I've got these two chairs, and we've got a little spot down here. That's not a chair. We're going to get rid of that. You'll notice that it didn't pick me up. Well, that's because I'm sitting in the chair. So it saw me, not the chair itself. The good news is we can add any area we want. So if I click add, I essentially get to draw out a portion. This is a chair. I can also delete anything that I don't want to focus on, like this little guy down here. I'll go ahead and click on that, click delete. So now we've been doing this for about 5 minutes, and the MT500 has already told the camera, these are the chairs that I see. We'll click next. Now what we need to do is place the microphone. Where is the mic in the room based on where these chairs are? So the microphone is directly in front of me. What I'm going to do, if you hover over these chair selections, you'll notice that these dots over here on the layout diagram turn red. That lets you know, all right, so this chair, this section, this is in the front, this one's in the middle, this one's in the back. The microphone is directly in front of me. So I'm going to want that mic to be right around here. Say that looks good. Middle of the table, right by me. Once I drop that microphone in, you notice where I'm at, it's going to be channel 1, preset 1. So channel 1 is your microphone channel, and the preset's your camera preset. So I'm going to be at channel 1, preset 1, and these two chairs are going to be at channel 4, preset 4. Utilizing InstaConfig, this is going to automatically create the camera presets for you. You do not have to leave the MT500 web interface. You don't have to get into the camera's web interface. You don't have to use the remote control. You don't have to use your control system. Remotely, through the web, we can just come into the 500, do this Insta configuration, and it's going to create our presets for us and detect all of our chairs. So this looks all right. I'm going to click next. So now I get to edit my camera shots. So if I click on me, channel 1, preset 1, you're going to get a little preview over here. So I can sit here and say, okay, I think that looks good. Maybe I want to pan it over just a little bit, frame me up just a little bit better. If I click on channel 4, preset 4, that's going to be my preview, and I can come in and then adjust the zoom size. I can adjust the pan, the tilt, all of that. I think this looks okay for right now. When I click done, you're going to see the camera do its little dance. And then when we come over here to our groups, you see that channel 1 is now at preset 1, channel 2 is at preset 1, and we've got preset 4 assigned to channel 4. It's that simple. Now keep in mind, our MT series operates off of groups. Remember that a group in the MT is a pairing of one camera and one microphone. We can add multiple cameras to the same mic. That's completely okay. Each one of those instances will then have to be added as its own group. So the Insta configuration that I just did is particular to this group that I'm in. I have 2 other groups. So what I would then have to do is go into my separate TR group and click Insta config again. I'm going to do this one pretty quickly since I already walked you guys through it. This way you guys can see where Katie's at. I'm going to zoom that out a little bit. We're going to pan it over. That looks all right. Click next. Camera does its little song and dance. Now we're going to select the area. Let's frame up these chairs. It's probably not going to catch Katie because she is blocking the chair. Say that looks all right. Next. Our AI is detecting all of the chairs in the shot. And look at that.
Oh,
It captured the chair. So utilizing this, there's 3 chairs in that shot. The MT500 saw all 3 of them right off the bat. So we'll click next. We're going to place the mic so it's directly in front of Katie, so it'll be right about there. She's going to be at channel 1 preset 1. These 2 are going to be at channel 2 preset 2. So we'll go next. Click that to make sure I've got a good preview. I'm going to pan that over slightly. Looks all right. We're not going to worry about these guys. We'll hit done. Camera's doing a little song and dance. And then on her group, you'll see we've got preset 1 on channel 1, preset 2 on channel 2. Now, this is a very important thing to remember. When we are pairing multiple cameras to the same microphone, the thing we need to avoid is microphone channel and camera preset overlap. What I mean by that, I've got 2 TR groups, 2 different TR335 cameras using the same MXA310. I did my group first, and I'm using channel 2. I'm not going to worry about channel 1. I'm not getting picked up on that. I'm not going to worry about channel 4. So I'm using channel 2. What we need to make sure is that on Katie's group, for her TR335, we are not using channel 2. Otherwise, the MT500 is going to say, I don't know which camera to put onto the far end, and it will just pick one. And it might not be the correct camera or the camera that you want. So Katie, where you're at, could you speak so that I can see what microphone channel is picking you up?
Test, test, hot mic, hot mic, hot mic. So it looks like channel 4.
Correct. And you see, after Katie speaks, using our Insta-config, we've been doing this for what, maybe about 15 minutes?
If that.
Using that Insta-config on a simple 2 to 3 camera system, you have your basic starting point. Now you see what I mean when I say you can absolutely run a call off of your basic Insta-config setup. It might not be what you need out of this space, but it's a very good starting point. We could run the rest of this webinar just off of this one configuration. We might have a different user, has a different need, has a different want. That's completely fine. We've got a starting point.
So on that note, Victor, we are getting so many questions in the chat. I'm sure Dave and I are just watching this. So do you think we can, is there anything else you wanted to show? Or do you think we can switch over to some questions?
No, let's switch over to some questions.
Okay.
So many good questions. Just before we jump into the questions, I just have one comment, because I've done 1,000 of these, and what you just saw is not supposed to happen. That's not the way these webinars work. The way the webinars work is they spend 40 hours configuring the demo to work perfectly and then just do the 2-minute demo. We didn't just see the demo, we saw the demo, and then we saw the setup of the demo. You're not supposed to show us how to set this. That's supposed to be too hard to show us. And you showed us that part, and it's easy. I was like, can I play with that?
Honestly,
that
it worked even better than I expected it to work, because we had bodies in the chairs, and I was like, okay, that's probably going to hang up, but it caught on my side. It caught it.
And then
so,
it worked. Not only were we able to configure it right in front of us, but then when you click start, I'm like, oh no, Victor, no live demo where you configure it right in front of us. I've done too many of these, and it worked perfectly. So just so people in the viewers know from behind the scenes, that's not usually how these things go. But let's jump into our questions.
For sure.
Yeah, so we got a question in the chat. Will MT500 be available? So MT300 can be run as a software package on a Windows PC. Will MT500 be available that way, or just as a box running Android or something similar?
I'm trying to find that question. I'm sorry.
Okay, go for it. But
that one's in the chat.
with a Nareva, correct? Yeah. Well, and so all of those compatible mics that are compatible on the MT300 will also work with this.
Yeah.
And then someone said, what about ceiling mics if you had more than one microphone? Absolutely, if it's one of our compatible mics, of which there are many across many different brands.
I can dive into
Yeah, go for it.
a little bit more. So the way that InstaConfig is going to work, remember, it's particular to the group that you are in, the group that you are setting that Insta configuration. So whatever microphone is paired to that camera in that group, that is the microphone information that the MT is then going to be looking at. So in the demo portion, whenever I was placing the mic next to those zones or next to the chairs that the 500 detected, you need to make sure that I'm placing the correct microphone that we're using for that group. Otherwise, your coordinates are going to be off, your presets are going to be a little wonky, and stuff's not going to work the way you expect it or anticipate it to.
So while you're looking that up, we got the ceiling mics with more than one microphone. Does it support multiple furniture layouts? So absolutely yes. So you have the option to set, how many profiles can we set on this? Is it
36.
36 different profiles? And so that profile feature is absolutely meant for the scenario you're describing of multiple furniture layouts. So this room isn't really compatible to that. It's just boardroom. But if you have a more flexible space, you absolutely can set a profile for, here's our presenter setup, all chairs facing forward. Here's our small group setup. That's what those 36 profiles are for, or again, the divisible room setup.
Absolutely.
So those profiles can be used in that multiple furniture layout, and you could use InstaConfig in those layouts. Once you'd have to configure the furniture, but you could use InstaConfig in that scenario as well.
Now, I want to speak to my integrator friends that are on this call. Come closer. Come closer. Lean in. We all know if you're going in to commission a multi-purpose room, that's a lot of information that you need to get. What are the room layouts? Where exactly are the tables and chairs going to be in the room? Am I missing a layout? Because we always know we're missing a layout. There's always one we didn't set up for. Doing that commissioning, doing that setup, you might be there for a while. But now think about commissioning a multi-purpose room, divisible space, a room where tables and chairs are modular, always moving around. Think of commissioning that with InstaConfig. How much time are you going to be saving? That was just for my integrator commissioning folks. All right, we can go back.
So Jesse Thomas, can we use multiple cameras so there's no panning in this scenario? So it would cut feeds instead of just panning the one camera. So yes, and I'm so glad you asked this question, Jesse, because it's the one AI feature we are not demoing today. It does take a little bit more time to configure. And so we have two AI features that deal with this issue of moving faces. One is face focus, which we showed you, and the other is IntelliSwitch. And you can only use one at a time. So that's why we showed you one and not the other. But IntelliSwitch is for exactly that scenario, right? Where you want to reduce that camera movement. What IntelliSwitch does is, based on people who are talking, it queues up that second camera so that you don't have that excess movement in rooms that may only have 2 or 3 cameras in them. That is exactly its purpose.
Now, what was that one question that I missed? Was that from David?
It was the one.
MT300 can sort of be run as software package.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so David, you asked, the MT300 can sort of be run as a software package on a Windows PC. Will MT500 be available that way, or just as a box running Android or something similar? So the MT500, and Katie, you can speak to this too from the product side, it's your hardware device. It is running a software that we developed. That software is called PTZ Link. That was our first step into the voice tracking system. There are some issues with it, and by that I mean it's software, so it's not BYOD friendly. Post-COVID, that's the direction everyone, the whole industry seems to be moving in. We want options. We want the option to be able to use the dedicated in-room PC, whether it's Zoom rooms, Team Room, whatever it is you're using. But we all know there's that one coworker or that one executive, they want to use their own device. That's why we went ahead and developed this hardware box. So at the moment, there are no plans for this to be running Android or be any kind of compute. This is simply going to be your hardware device that is going to be your camera source inside of your conferencing platform.
Okay, so I'm dipping over to the QA. So Anthony asked what AV control systems can work with the MT500.
What AV control system do you have, man? If you can communicate from your control system via Visca 422, 322, you'll be fine. We're not going to say we work with one and not with the other. It's control system agnostic. So just so long as your control system can speak those languages, you can control this device. You'll also notice that we do have relay controls. Katie shared a slide earlier showing all of the inputs and outputs on the device. So if you have a projector screen, curtains, etc., we do have those relay controls, so you can control that from this device as well. Now, there was one question before we hit any more on the Q&A. I see Romeo asked, if I have another room identical to the one I already configured, can I upload that configuration to the other MT, or do I need to start from scratch? You can absolutely export your configuration, not just from your MT device, but from your cameras as well, and then load that configuration into every other AVer product that you have.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, there might be some changes you have to do, those changes being IP addresses, maybe tweak some of the presets. But no, you can absolutely commission the first room, export those configs, and then go. I'm going to speak to my integrators again. Come here. Imagine you're commissioning one room, like one
A university,
floor
right?
in a university. All of the rooms are identical. We go in, set everything up, launch instaconfig, have that configuration, export, and then go into every other room and load all of those settings in. How quickly do you think you can be done commissioning that entire floor? You tell me. All right, we're done. We can go back.
I was going to say, as an analyst, that's a big one, because, you know, in the old days, video conferencing, it was just in the one boardroom. We didn't need templates. We didn't need cut and paste. Now video is about scalability beyond what it used to. It's not just rooms anymore. It's spaces. Anywhere it's got to be video. So yeah, anything that you set up for one room, if you could tell me I got to redo that for my 1,000 rooms, I'm like, But back to the boardroom, guys.
You're going to be crying by room number 2.
Yeah.
So moving on, do you have a running list of third-party cameras and what features work with each camera when connected to MT500 or MT300 and how it can connect to the MT500 or MT300? So third-party cameras are going to dumb connect. You can see a camera feed and you can connect that any way you could connect any of our cameras, HDMI, USB, any of those.
IP.
Right, IP. But they aren't going to be able to do this video switching. If you want to do the video switching we've demonstrated today, that means it has to be part of the AVer ecosystem. There are also some features that require you, for example, IntelliSwitch, which we did not demo today, requires you to have the same model camera of AVer cameras. So if you're going to have a room, it would have to have, in order to use it, you would have to have all our TR335s, 315s, PTZ211s.
And that's a good point as well. When we say the exact same model, it has to be the exact same.
Yeah.
If you're doing IntelliSwitch. It can't just be...
Not for face focus, importantly. Today we had 2 different models for face focus.
For the IntelliSwitch, if you have a TR315, your secondary camera also has to be a 315. It's just the way that they communicate. That's how it is currently. We'll see.
When is the product available for shipping? Patrick, now. And get on it, because I feel like after this webinar, maybe it won't be available for shipping because we might run out of stock. But yes, we're available to ship now. If you need it ASAP, talk to us. You know, we are really excited to get this in the hands of people and start getting feedback. So, but yeah, we've got units in, and we're in the office. We can go find boxes back there.
We can go count how many we have.
Right. We can just go into the warehouse and see. What does MT stand for, if anything? Matrix tracking is what that stands for.
So I see Patrick asked about RS-232. That was my bad. I misspoke. Right now, we can control this box via 422 and via IP. So if you've got Visca, that's how your control system communicates. We can do Visca over IP or 422.
And that was our next question. Can it be controlled over IP? The answer is yes. Are we...
I see another one from David. Is there a published API list? So that would be available on our website. If you need those codes, they're also available on the user manual.
Yeah, any of the Visca commands or all of that, that's in our very long, the MT500 has an extensive user manual. We documented that
Correct.
a lot.
It's I believe it's over 80 pages.
No, it's over 100, I think.
It's over 100
You don't need to read it all, but it's there for you if you need it.
Everything that you would need from this is there. Now, one thing that I really want to highlight, our AI features, face focus, IntelliSwitch, InstaConfig. That's what we have for right now. We just launched this product. It is brand new. We're going to have it at InfoComm. So if you're there, come over, come say hi. We're going to have a slot machine. So come over, have some fun with us. But also, we would love to hear from you guys. If you want the MT500, awesome. After you've had some time with it, you've sat with it, you've used these features, we want to know what you would like to see on the device coming up next. Katie touched on this a little bit, coming from the MT300 to the 500. What we added to the 500 were things that you guys told us that you would like to have or that you needed to have in the space. We mentioned earlier, we are a smaller company. We want to make sure that our equipment is fitting into your spaces the best way that it can. So if there's ever a feature that you would like to see, that you need to see, or that you need to have in order to make this work, please let us know. We would love to work with you guys. And if there's something that can be done, we would love to do that with you. I see there's a couple more questions in the Q&A. So Chris asked, compatible with multiple TTMX like MT300 is. So at the moment, I believe the official line is we are compatible with one parlay mic for tracking. I have seen this work with multiple parlays. If you guys would like some demos or some assistance with that, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be happy to hop on a call with you guys. If I can't make it, I'll make sure that a member of my team is able to make that as well.
I know I put it in the chat, but we've got a couple questions on list price. Just to tell you, our MSRP on this is $4,999.99. And of course, that's MSRP. We work through resellers and distributors, so that is not that. And we work with many of them, so you can go to your preferred reseller and distributor to get pricing on this.
I thought it was going to be more. I mean, that's the price of a camera, and this is a whole, intelligent room system. I'm a little reverse sticker shock there.
I mean, this is AVer, but if you've worked with AVer before, you know this is where we stand in the market at a price to performance level, right? We want to give you a really strong, AV experience, but we also are invested in value. And so, so that's what we have offered here with the MT500 today. And that's part of what our brand is.
Yep. And our brand as well. And with the MT500, it is nothing without listening to what our clients had to say. The 300, that was our first step into voice tracking as a hardware device. We didn't know what the customers wanted aside from voice tracking. So with the 500, please let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you would like to see.
Yeah, it's something I've learned about AVer. Anytime you come up with something new, I'm like, why did you make that? Because our customers asked for it. Which is the right way to develop. Some companies, they have these really great engineers, and the engineers say, we came up with a great feature. Try to sell it to people that don't need it. It's like, no, that's not the way you do it. Talk to your customers, please. Trey's asking if there'll be a copy of the recording of the presentation. We will be sure to make that available. It should be available if you go back to the same lobby and I'll check. We may be able to email it to you. This is my first day. This is the first time we've done one of these, so I'm working out the logistics. But it's definitely been recorded, and we will make it available. And I have to say, you know, I knew Katie and Victor would be amazing while I just sat here. But chat, those are some really great questions. You know this stuff better than I do. I'm going to have to request, we were going to be doing more of these, and Katie, Victor, and I are going to be here, but can some of y'all in chat please come back? Because you guys were amazing. That was, I'm like, ooh, that's a great question, over and over and over again.
We are so grateful for those questions. We're grateful for your engagement. We're glad to see that you're excited about this product. And look, as you get demo units, as you try it out, you're going to have that shower thought like, oh, can it do this? Can it do this? And we're going to try our best to make sure we answer those questions for you. And, you know, we're just so excited. We're so geeked. Victor, you and I, we were both so geeked about this product.
This is about as nerdy as it can get. We're talking about auto switching and cameras and microphones, and it's awesome. I love it.
It really is. I mean, you know, we joke around that we are all geeks here, and it is fun and cool for us. I mean, when you're outlining the chairs, I'm like, I want a copy of this tool. It's like a game. But for our non-techie people, the people that we're serving, the people that go into these rooms and they don't want to configure things, they don't want to know how it works, they don't even want to press the on button, they just want to sit down and have a meeting, is going to be such a better experience for them. And that's what this is really all about. The fact that it's going to be easy for us as a tech people to put it together, that's great. But at the end of the day, it's about the experience that we're providing. All right, any final thoughts, Katie and Victor, before we wrap this up?
No, I think we're at time, but so I guess final thoughts. So if you are interested in getting a demo unit, please reach out to your AVer representative. I think, Victor, actually, could you, since it's just 2 potential people, it would be, could you drop their emails into the chat, Angela and Lindsay's email? So right now we have Angela, who is covering the East Coast, and Lindsay, who is covering the center. We are hiring for a West Coast role. So if you know someone who would like to work in sales on the West Coast for Pro AV and sell this lovely product, please send them our way. But they're both covering the West Coast in the interim while that's working out. So Victor is going to drop those emails into the chat for you. I know a lot of people have requested like, hey, can we get a meeting? Can we get a demo? And I'm going to reach out specifically on that to make sure those get set up. But if you're curious and you want to have an email on hand, these are the 2 people that you would reach out to for demos, either remote demos that we could do from our home offices, or if you want a demo unit, you want to try it out. So he is going to get that dropped in there for you. Yeah, Angela and Lindsay. Brilliant. So those are your 2 contact informations. Of course, you can reach out to our main office if you lose track of this. But please do. We're very excited to share this with you. We're very excited for your feedback, and we look forward to working with you on this product. We've enjoyed introducing it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, got to keep Victor busy. He's not busy enough as it is, right?
Not at all. Come hang out with us at InfoComm.
Yes, be sure.
Yeah, we will both be at InfoComm.
And I'll be there too.
Yeah.
We're all going to hang out. It's in Vegas.
We got coffee. We got a coffee bar. Stop by when you need a cup of coffee.
All right. Thank you. We're getting some thanks in chat. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you at the next one of these webinars. You know, as this is the first one we've done. Thank you for being patient with us. But wow, this really was exciting. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, everyone. And let us know your feedback, and we'll see you at the next one. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.